I'm Jesha Miller. I represent we the people of the United States versus the government. I'm the petitioner of the Constitution's checks and balances. I'm owed $3,141,000,000 by the Treasury Department for the default of the Judicial Branches violating the guaranteed right to the 13th and 14th Amendment as due process and imposing slavery. If slavery is imposed when a citizen's freedom is taken without being duly processed. Now, I'm a veteran petitioner of the checks and balances intended when a branch of government is corrupt. The checks and balances empower me to indict President Trump, Stephen Mnuchin, Justin Mucinich, Nancy Pelosi, and etc. You can see this online at commencetrumpsimpeachment.blogspot.com. I'm empowered by the Constitution. I have the power to indict, especially regarding social or political issues. That is a status quo. I'm empowered by the Constitution, and I have a status quo socially with a net worth of $3.14 billion owed by government for the continued oppression by the Judicial Branch default of the 13th and 14th Amendments, which has imposed slavery. A miscarriage of justice was an act against the law by the United States Supreme Court. Denying the Habeas Corpus is a power denied government under Article 1, Section 9, with the Supreme Court denying the right to freedom by the rule of law. The entire judicial branch is corrupt, requiring the checks and balances as intended by the framers of the Constitution to stop corruption and abuse of power. They have to be checked. This is major. Checks and balances are an essential part of the Constitution, absolutely necessary and crucial because President Trump violates his oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution checks and balances. The magnitude is President Trump violates his number one duty under Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution to faithfully see to it that the laws are executed. It's checkmate. And it's Miller time. And it's time for the Constitution checks and balances as well as the Treasury sent to the Board of Directors because Stephen Mnuchin refused. Delayed rights or denied rights. This started back when it was $145 million, escalated to $3.141 billion. That means they had no intentions to pay it all. This involves the people's right to freedom. Abuse of power is rampant, so my status quo net worth must be immediately maintained now. An appointment between me, Jesha Miller, and the Treasury Board of Directors must be made September 20th, 2019, so you're way past payment to stop oppression. This takes precedence over all matters, meaning stop whatever you're doing and call all members of the Board of Treasury Directors to make an appointment this week, September 20th, 2019, to pay Jesha Miller that $3.141 billion. It's Miller time. Yeah, I'm just saying. This is the law, and this is to the extent that the entire government is corrupt and they must be checked. This is unprecedented for the Treasury to pay $3.141 billion to a citizen. See the FBI blogspot.com. Stephen Mnuchin is an accomplice refusing to pay the money owed by the rule of law. Oppression is malicious when being a billionaire is the highest class. Yeah. Low class, middle class, then you got high class, then you got multi-millionaires, then you got billionaires. That's the A class. To deny a person his manifest destiny, which is mine, to have that, or else I wouldn't be in this position. Billionaire's destiny in the A section, financially secured and the position to employ, helping the lives of fellow Americans as well as my own family. The money owed started at $50 million, which is the motive for oppression, denying money owed by the rule of law. See AP called to expose corruption.blogspot.com and to conceal the crime under Title 18, Section 243, which is the exclusion of jurors on account of race. This is a statutory prohibited by Title 18, Section 243, which is the exclusion of jurors on account of race. Now, you can go on to Stephen Mnuchin paid $145 million that's on YouTube. You can go on to commence Trump's impeachment, where the indictment and the money owed is $2,730,000,000. Like I said, this was on the officials. A violation of the Declaration of Independence, violating the unalienable right all men are created equal. They tried to revert back to the Maryland doctrine of exclusion to keep blacks subordinate. At $3 billion, I'm not a subordinate. So that is certainly oppression, and it's Miller time to get paid. So, like I said, the Treasury take note from this, and also the impeachment of President Trump is involved in the Constitution's checks and balances. First, we need to go over the Code of Ethics, because evidently none of these officials have read them, even though they took an oath of office. Any person in government service should put loyalty to the highest moral principles and to country above law, to persons, party, and government. Uphold the Constitution, laws, and legal regulation of the United States and all governments therein, and never be a party to their evasion. When President Trump refuses to honor the Constitution checks and balances, this is evading the Constitution. The Constitution checks and balances is mandatory by law. The Constitution checks and balances is what upholds the integrity of the Constitution. The Constitution's checks and balances is absolutely necessary and a central part of the Constitution. And President Trump's impeachment, all Congress have an obligation morally and by law, mandatory by law, to uphold the Constitution, the laws, the legal regulations of the United States and all governments therein, and never be a party to their evasion. You've been evading. It's showtime, baby. I'm just saying. Put up or shut up. This is how they do it in the OG style. And it's Miller time. Showtime, baby. Thank you. All Americans pay attention, because you have to have a status quo maintained, or else they make me a victim of enemy of the state, as they done to conceal this and from the public. As I say, the First Amendment right to freedom of the press has been violated also to do that. You can't show it. You can't move it. That's checkmate. Checkmate on the president.